a lot of people don't know. I still get hate messages today. You know, I sold him bad medicine. I didn't sell him nothing. You know what I'm saying? And when they found out that there's an American collecting money for an Iranian in the hospital, that's when the president sent his brother to the hospital and tell the doctors that they will cover the cost. I can look back and get mad at myself, but it's not going to help.
But the good thing is, like we said, all of those things are all up here now.
Yeah.
You have those experiences in your head that can help with all the other people that you're helping as well. So, and one of the people that you were able to help was a country member of mine, Beytullah Abbaspour. And let's talk a little bit about Beytullah, because he's one of the people that I didn't get a chance to really meet and connect with. I wish I would have.
Oh, so you never met him?
No. And then even when he did the Olympia, I'm busy training my guys, so I never got a chance, because I'm very proud of a country member being able to, you know, represent Iran. Mm-hmm. But because of the fact that, you know, he ended up getting sick, and I was watching him compete, and I think you guys were on tour, and you had done John Rico's show in Italy, and you guys were doing that, and you had
the show that he won.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I want to talk. You were helping him, and he was competing, and there was a couple of shows that were very questionable about that. And I believe at the time he was going up against, who ended up beating him for that show?
Flex Lewis.
It was Flex Lewis, and I think Beytullah took second. Was it second at that show? Yeah.
Anybody was there. It doesn't matter who it was. And then Flex knew it too. He beat Flex fair and square. And it's not because Flex is not good. It's because Flex was off by a lot, not just a little bit. So Beytullah was spot on. That was the best. Yeah. Chris Aceto was sitting in the audience, you know, and then others in there said, it's clear. It's not even close. So, and then they give it to Flex. Lee Thompson.
Uh-huh.
He was the head judge.
Okay.
And I have no shame in my game. I said, listen, man, how was that possible?
Okay.
You know what his immediate excuse was? Because he didn't know what to say. It was a tie. And if it's a tie, it always goes to the champ.
Oh. So that's what he said. But
that's what he said.
My whole thing is that, you know, he looked really good at that point. Was he already sick at that point, or what was going on?
No.
Was he already having issues with his physique at that point, that it was going up and down, or
nothing,
how did that whole illness?
He went like every year. He goes back, you know, cleans out, and stays away from the gym for months, you know. And he complained about pain at one point. And he went to the hospital for some pain, and they told him it's nothing, and they sent him back. He had and it took forever until they really realized that it's vasculitis ligament, that this is a disease that, you know, and I guess it's because, you know, maybe he didn't pay the money, or couldn't pay the money that big doctors. I don't know what the situation is like over there. All I know is that they couldn't figure out what the problem is, because they didn't pay attention, or they didn't do the tests that they needed to do, because supposedly they were expensive. And then once they found out, because he had to sell his car and had to sell a few things in order to pay. When I heard that, that's when I did the GoFundMe.
That's right.
To help him. I remember I was on the phone in Iran. I was on the phone with the doctor. And I told the doctor, I said, listen, doctor, please do whatever you can now. I have the money. It's on its way. And he told me on the phone, and he spoke very good English. He said, listen, right now it's not up to the money. It's up to God. That's what I got from the doctor. And sure enough, he deteriorated real fast all of a sudden. He was in the hospital for a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it went from being better, going better, to going terribly wrong. And I found out later, because I didn't really know vasculitis. I found out later that this is normally something you don't die from. This is something that you get treated, and then it's okay. But I guess I remember when they found out, I had was it BBC or some news from Iran contacted me to do a live BBC the news channel, and I did. And when they found out that there's an American collecting money for an Iranian in the hospital, that's when the president sent his brother to the hospital and tell the doctors that they will cover the cost. That was because they found out somehow that I was involved. And I remember, you remember I wanted to go there and you told me, you might want to.
Yeah.
you might want to.
Yeah, because people were telling me the same thing to me, because I wanted to go, and I wanted to go for many years to go see where my parents grew up and everything else in Iran. And everyone told me, hey, look, maybe wait a little bit until the political environment changes a little bit better, then go out. So did they ever tell you what caused it or any of this thing?
There's no reason. There's nothing you can do to cause it. It's kind of like you pull an ass card. That's something that can happen for no reason. There's nothing you can do to develop vasculitis. So it has nothing to do with steroids. So that's total bullshit. Because a lot of people don't know. I still get hate messages today. You know, I sold him bad medicine. I didn't sell him nothing. You know what I'm saying? You know, but some hardcore fans. But the people now finally realize that this is something that he's probably had for a long, long time and just never knew it. You know, because it starts with pain, and sometimes you ignore pain. You know, it comes and goes, and I don't know how long, because we can't ask him no more, because he might have dragged this around for quite some time. But the problem is, if the doctors would have diagnosed it earlier, they could have treated it. You know,
it's just,
and there's different variants of vasculitis, and the one he had is called vasculitis vegana. Vegana is the name of a person, and after that person, that's they named that vasculitis disease, and that one is the one that will. It's an inflammation of the arteries and veins, and it kind of attacks your organs. After it goes through that, it attacks your organs. So it was severely painful. It had to be so painful.
Yeah, I just saw his body deteriorate when I saw the pictures and the videos.
Yeah.
And it was the saddest thing ever. And the minute I heard about it, obviously, I helped financially as well.
Thank you for that, because I remember that. And this guy, I wish you would have met him, because he had his heart outside. It was on top of his skin.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about him.
Even though we never were able to speak, we sit at my table. I had to stay in my house. And we sit at the table, and look at someone's eyes, and you can hear what he's saying, even though there's a translator, but we still understand each other. He's just a good guy. Unbelievable good guy.
Well, one of the main reasons I worked with Hadi was because of him, because I didn't get a chance to actually meet him. I didn't get a chance to help a fellow countryman, because I just, we just never connected. And then I know you worked with him. And then when the whole situation ended up happening, and then Hadi's people reached out to me, one of the things is it reminded me of Bayatollah, and I just wanted to be able to help a countryman from where my family is from.